So we're here to celebrate not only the man, but the inspiration that he brought so many people, both behind the camera, many of whom you see here, who are his students, his proteges, and those carrying on his legacy, as well as to inspire all of you here at Comic-Con and all around the world who are interested in the kind of work that creating characters is all about and the art form that it is. So we want to start by introducing the panel here. On this end, we have Matt Winston, whom you may have seen on stage and screen. He is the son of Stan himself. Mr. Alex Alvarez, who runs the Gnomon School. My name is Dan Ling. I'm a visual effects supervisor. I had the honor of working with Stan and Jim Cameron many years ago, and I'm just here to kind of moderate. Next to me, thank you, Mr. Tom Woodruff, Amalgamated Dynamics, ADI. And his business partner, Alec Gillis, next to him. We have J. Allen Scott from Legacy Effects. Shane Mann, also from Legacy. And John Rosenblum from Legacy. Together, these gentlemen were there at ground zero in the creation and the bringing to life of characters like the Terminator, the Alien Queen, the Predator, Iron Man, all of the things that Jim Cameron's talking about in the last 30 years. These gentlemen, who all started with Stan, were the ones who are bringing those to life even today as we speak for the new films and for all of the great character branding and stuff that you've seen. So we're going to start today talking about Stan's impact and what he's done specifically for, you know, not just for the fans, but for the people in the business who are also fans. I just want to start down with John and kind of go up and talk a little bit about Stan in terms of his, you know, what made him so unique and so important to this, to both fandom and to the industry.
Well, I think Jim Cameron really touches on it in his speech, talking about Stan. Stan was very gracious and open. We were all a bunch of young fellas trying to get in this business. And you know, Stan recognized in us, you know, a spark of talent and a determination, and he really fostered that. I think he, as Jim says, he gave us an opportunity to grow and learn and to, you know, kind of guide us with his way of doing things, which I think really and truly is a new precedent in this business. He made a business out of this. He treated it in a way that it wasn't being done before. It was all garage effects. And I think Stan really elevated it to a new level and, you know, took us all along with him on this just amazing ride.
Shane? Anything to add to that?
I was fortunate enough to be a young fellow moving up to Hollywood and meeting Tom and Alec and John at a different effects facility. And the thing we were talking about before was that back then there wasn't the visual effects schools that are prevalent today. Just about every university across the country has a visual effects curriculum.
But ours is better. Ours is way better.
Yeah, it'll be better. Not like that. But there was nothing but no. But there was nothing like we had to search for it. We had to actually really glean all the knowledge from other people that you would meet. And I was hired to work with Stan for I think the job was 6 or 7 weeks for the first Terminator. And he goes, "Do you know any extra guys, other guys?" I go, "Yeah, there's Tom Woodruff, John." And so like this team kind of came together, and that 6 weeks turned into 25 years for me. And but that's because he was a very well, the inspiration was there, the passion was there, and he was always kind of striving to get things in a more unique place. But what the family's offering now is something really unique to everybody, and I guess it's a great opportunity if that's the career that you're trying to pursue, or even if you have an interest in any of that kind of thing. I don't know what else.
I can tell that, you know, when I started at the bottom and eventually just worked my way up, and that's kind of what this opportunity is as well. It's an opportunity to learn from the professionals, and sometimes you get to do it side by side with people, and sometimes you get to just learn from, you know, glean information. But it's a nice opportunity to, you know, learn from the guys that have done it before, what's happened before, but then bring your own creativity and your own inventiveness to it. And that's what Stan was always great with, is that he always gave you plenty of opportunity to explore what you were interested and good at. And you know, I think that's what's great about continuing right now.
Tom, Alec, you want to talk a bit about, you know, the fact that Stan seemed to be really open about this stuff. There's a lot of times in the industry where it's all about trade secrets. It's all about this kind of thing where you can't let anybody else know how you did the work. And Stan seemed to be one of those guys who not only opened the book and said, you know, I'll show you exactly how I did it, and I can still do it better than you. and that sort of, not so much the competitive aspect of it, which is really important and fun, but at the same time, the idea that, you know what, teach everybody, inspire everybody, and that's one of the things that the school's certainly doing. How did that impact you as young guys coming in?
Well, I think one of the things that Stan said, when I came in, you know, a couple of years after Tom and Shane and John started with Stan, and he said, I asked him, do you ever miss, like, you know, being the lone guy? Because back then, you know, you had Dick Smith, you know, John Chambers, who were like guys working in their garages and doing really fantastic stuff. And Stan said he misses Clay, but he said, now people are my Clay. And at the first time, you know, when he first thought that, I thought, wow, this guy's got an ego. And then I realized that, well, of course, yes, he had an ego, which was part of what drove him, but he also allowed you to have your ego, and he allowed you to shine, and he would provide the structure for you to excel with, and also not to be afraid to fail, because that's very important when you're an artist. And even though you have to be very careful and respectful of budget and schedule, because that's how you go out of business. Stan was also an excellent businessman. But you have to be afraid to take chances, and you can't be afraid to take chances. You can't be afraid to fail. So as long as he was keeping the thing rolling and keeping the schedule moving forward, we could play a little bit. And I think that spirit of inventiveness was something that was very inspirational. And I think that that's the kind of thing that is going to be communicated here with the school.
So there was a lot of sense of wanting to give back through the work that he kind of inspired you to do. You want to try to inspire other people. That's one of the ideas of the school.
Well, and the other thing, I don't know how you feel about this, but after seeing that montage of all that work that was done basically after we left, if I'd known you guys were going to work on those movies, I don't think we would have left.
You know, we're actually wondering how one goes about applying to legacy.
But you know, the other thing that Stan brought to the work was his tremendous heart. He was a very funny guy, and he was a very warm and very personable guy. And I remember even in the steps of working on, I think it was Monster Squad early on, and he was designing and running the show, but not really doing a lot of the strictly the hands-on work. And I was painting appliances at the time for Frankenstein Monster, and was having some trouble. I went to Stan and asked him, "Come help me? Would you please come help me do some painting on this?" And he said, "I would love to." And we spent the afternoon painting appliances. He said he enjoyed still doing the work even at that point. So I think it's that kind of heart, I think, is important in what we do, because it's easy to sort of get weighted down by the day-to-day getting the work done and getting the concept out so that it makes sense on screen. But the heart that he brought to everything was a very important aspect.
And what did you do when he sent you the bill for his time?
You know, Van, let me just interject something real quick. That's so true what Tom was saying, is that he continued being an artist. Even when he wasn't down on the floor sculpting anymore and doing it, he would go up in his office and he would continue sculpting. And, you know, his passion was always there for it, never ever went away.